What's going on, guys? So, this is a whole bunch of parts for a Barbatos. This is the only real reason I bought the kit, and this is finally this Master Grade Monday. Oh boy, so much work to do. Let's get to it. Alright guys, so here we have the P-BANDAI MG1100 expansion part set for Gundam Barbatos. And because Bandai really does hate the people, they're not going to bother selling you all of the parts with an individual Gundam, so that you now have to have a single Gundam and all the parts you want to swap out. Now I get the idea is basically, hey, this is how it went, but how many people are just going to buy multiple Barbatoses? Barbatosai, I don't know, to make this happen? Probably many of them. But either way, we do get the P-BANDAI monochromatic goodness here in all kinds of blue. We got MG logo there, Iron-Blooded Orphans. And of course, this is an oddball box because it's like a big HG box, but sideways. Sure. And all things like that. Bandai Spirit 2020. You've got the Bandai logo down there. And it's P-BANDAI box, so there ain't a whole lot to look at. But this one actually lays out all the parts. And then, hey, look, water slide decals. Actually, just says water decals. Cool. Thanks for that, buddy. And if you turn it that way, you get MG expansion parts set, Gundam Barbatos. I know all that. BandaiHobby.net. I feel like I haven't said that in a minute. And you come back over here and you got all the same stuff on the side, and then you got all the parts and warnings and PS, PUR. What? That's a new one for me. PVC, I know what that is. Little guy with the toilet for the plastic bag. No glue required. Well, I hope not. No price on there because you had to buy it from P-BANDAI, and hopefully you bought it directly from P-BANDAI and did not pay the overly expensive parts. Costs. Guys, I haven't reviewed things in a few weeks. Brain has to get back in it. Anyway, so let's turn this thing over. And yeah, still upside down. It's a cool thing. So guys, this is going to be hopefully not a super long review. So I'm going to tell you how this is going to go. I'm going to go form by form. I'm going to time lapse the application of the parts. And then we're going to show it off. And then we're going to go from there. Because frankly, it's going to be stupid to try to do things at normal speed. And I'm sure you'll appreciate that. But let's get to it with, well, some of the stuff that is not Barbatos related first. Shall we? Master Grade Monday. Alright, so first things first. We have the water slide sheet here. And of course, you can just do whatever you want. You got battle damage. You got all kinds of different Tekadon logos, even some Iron-Blooded Orphans logos, I believe is what that is, yeah. And somebody swimming, I guess. I don't know. CGS, that's of course their original things. You got some Gjallarhorn battle damage logos. You got some of the Galileo, what was his last name? Either way, that's his family crest. So this gives you some extra water slides, I believe, even for HGs. So there's that. Obviously, I haven't used any of these. Kind of just not in the mood at all. Just is what it is. Also, we get a super tiny Orga, which is kind of cool. Got his little fist pump in there. Obviously, I haven't painted it just yet. I'm having a problem. I cannot find the normal Mr. Hobby thinner that I normally use. I can't find it anywhere at all. So I can't really do any other paints unless I can find an equivalent thinner that I could just use for basically cleaning brushes and whatnot. So that sucks. Otherwise, pretty cool little Orga. You could probably add like one of those. I don't know if any of these Tekadon logos are remotely sized to go on the back of his jacket. You can probably get one of these on there. Or one of these. Anyway, so that's pretty cool. And of course, we have the only reason to buy this kit. a 1 to 100 mobile worker. Now, obviously, you can see I did not paint the details, and yes, that makes me very sad. So, why wouldn't I give you stickers to like at least do the like blackout for the windows? You know. Also, it is definitely as hollow as the HGs. Like that's just like stupid sad. It does come with, of course, the big machine guns. It can rotate, which is pretty cool. Panel line, the wheels need to be painted. A lot of things need to be painted on this guy. It is what it is. But I believe you can open the cockpit, which is kind of cool. So if you have a seated pilot, like the seated Mika, it will definitely go right up in there, which is pretty cool. I don't remember if I put Mika in Barbatos or not. I'm actually probably going to have to bust out the Barbatos box because I need the extra hands. I'm just not thinking of this. I also probably need a little bit of a light going on there. You do get an option for this as well because, once again, they hate you and don't want you to be able to have all of any one thing. And you get the Orga Command version. And you even get a cutout right there, which is perfect for a figure that doesn't exist. So you would really want a Mika, or not a Mika, sorry, an Orga that would be able to plug in right there, and clearly something is meant to just plug right in there. They could just ride around in this thing and command, and you get little missile pods instead. If you want one with guns, you can do that. You can mix and match. You can do all the things except for have two mobile workers at the same time, because once again, they hate us. I really wish they would just give us a 1 to 100 set of mobile workers. Just all of them, you know, because this is just a straight up tan one, which, did anybody have a tan one? I know we had, Orga's was white, Mika's was white too. I don't remember. Obviously Shino's was pink, and then we had green ones. I don't remember an exact like tan khaki colored one, but I'm sure they did exist, especially probably just CGS's normal stuff. So I like mobile workers. I'm assuming that they'll give us more, especially for the other factions and stuff like that. I expect the MG line to continue. Obviously, we're supposed to eventually get Flauros or Floros, however you want to say it, in MG form. So hopefully we'll get another mobile worker with that. So that'd be cool. Also, what are the odds to get a P-BANDAI Calamity War MG Floros? I mean, that just will make me happy. Alright, so now we have it in its first form, so no shoulders to speak of, and a symmetrical arm design. I try to remember what exactly was going on with this arm. I remember they grabbed the shield and everything else like this, so I think it was just missing the complete armor, and then they just used whatever they had lying around. I don't even believe this was before they got into the first fight with the Greys, stuff like that. But you got this big old elbow going on right here. The little bitty blue shield. It doesn't tab in worth a damn, if I'm honest. So it's supposed to tab in here and here. I think I just didn't get it all the way. Yeah, there we go. That's a little bit better. And somebody did ask a question on whether or not you could do the same thing. Like if you wanted to have it symmetrical, say you had two of these kits, you could definitely do this over here. So this could go to either side. So if you had two of them, it would work on both elbows. So that's no problem. But basically, there's not a whole lot going on with this form. I mean, you use very little of the original parts. You use this little guy right here on the Krellbow, and you use the back of the hand. Everything else is all new stuff just for the arm. And then the next couple forms basically just build off of this one. So let's move on to Form 2, technically speaking. Alright guys, so Form 2 is pretty basic, just building off of what we already had, but this is what we would definitely call the Gray's Shoulder Barbatos. Now obviously what's funny, the blues don't necessarily match, but these are the shoulders that they basically robbed off of the Commander Grays of Krankney when they killed him. So he got some upgraded shoulders, which is actually pretty cool in my opinion, because, well, it's Gray's parts, and yeah, not gonna be remotely angry at the fact there's Gray's parts. So whatever. But yeah, nothing crazy going on. You still get the flip flop. This is probably one of the easiest conversion because you're just adding without having to remove, and so that's something I definitely dig. So third form is really just going to build on top of this even further, because that's basically what they did. They just said, look, we got this thing and we don't really have a whole lot of money or stuff, so as we go, we're just going to add parts, especially if we defeat a new enemy, which they sort of did once they got into space. So let's move on to Form 3. Alright, so of course, third form is really just adding the Schwab Gray's claw thingy. And, well, I'm not a giant fan of this. It's still a decent add-on. I mean, it does still have the pivots. It's also a super easy thing to build, if I'm honest with you. It does replace the elbow section here, and obviously the forearm shield. Now, he did rip this off of, you know, it's purple, so I feel like it was Gaelio's, but it couldn't have been. It had to have been McGillis, because he gave the Schwab Grays to Gaelio later when he... Was that when he got Grimgard? I think, no, because he was in Kimaris by then on Earth. So at some point he did give it to him, but I believe at this point it was still his. So either way, you can also do the thing, because just like every other thing that has a harpoon guy, you get wire, because everybody loves this gimmick, right? Okay, so get the wire in there good as you can, and you do get a base here that plugs into the thing and does have a little knock that little piece off again. So I will have a tiny recommendation. Whenever you do this particular bicep armor, go ahead and glue these little strips in. They just sort of plug in via this T-tab. I mean, mind you, I'm not going to need it after this, because obviously it'll be fourth form after this. The big upgrade once they got involved with the turbines, if I remember my IBO history correctly. That's where they got the upgrades. So there we go, and you can open up the claws and stuff like that, so that'll be good. And I think this is even a little bit different than the actual one from the 1/100 version of the Schwab Grays. And if I had easy access to the Schwab Grays, I would definitely show that off, but I don't. So sorry for everybody who was hoping to see that. I don't have it. I apologize. But either way, moving on to the next form. Fourth form. I mean, do I really need to say anymore? You know what it is. All right, so that one's kind of a pain to get to the 5th form, more or less. And, well, it's just building on the 4th as usual, because you do have the same shoulders, same chest, stuff like that. But the arms do change out for these new Tekadon flavored arm things. But to me, that's a bit of a reference to the original arm shield. That's a pretty cool little add-on thing here. You also get this nice missile launcher mounted to the arms. And I do believe this was the first like outer space form when they headed to Earth. Because I believe that's why he added this big old chest armor. And I remember that really only served one purpose, and that was to make sure he didn't take a big old lance or something to the chest. And then he basically ejected it before they came down to Earth. But yeah. New missiles on the arm, which actually do swivel, which is kind of cool. This one does not move. This one does, and can also slide up and down a little bit, get a little more hidden, such as that. You also get these new big old elbow pads right here, which I think I used those as part of a custom on another one. You do still use these same parts. I thought those were actually going to be different. The shoulder armors stay the same until a little ways past this point. You do get these cool new side skirt thruster dealies, which are mounted to the butt, which I think is interesting. You do get a swivel here, you get hinge there, swivel here, and they do open up. I forget if they pull out or if they just, yeah, they pull out like that. They don't open. Okay, so that's a confusion because the next ones do. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of a pain, but it's a cool look, especially with these new forearm mounted or elbow mounted rockets. Like, this is something that they sort of stick with going into the future. Realistically, what we end up getting is just how we get to Lupus, how we get to Lupus Rex. Just seeing all these new forms. I guess if you swell out the shoulder pads a little bit, it does look pretty cool. So this is a neat form. It's not one that he had for too long. It's more or less like the beefed up space battle form, added a bit more mobility with these thrusters and, a lot more shield armor due to the fact they're going into a heavier battle, trying to get past the Earth Defense Forces, Carta and all them. I don't remember if he used these thrusters later or not, because of course they do have to go down to Earth after this, so he can get upgraded to the next form, I guess. Fun times, guys. Alright guys, so welcome to my nightmare, which is 5th form ground type. Now the reason I say that is entirely down to this foot. So this foot has been plaguing me ever since I built this thing. This little hinge here has had a little bit of stress, like it's just pushed a hair too far, and this just essentially doesn't clip into it. So this foot is stupid. The only thing that's actually holding it up is the ankle guard itself. Like you can see here, it wiggles. So interesting point of fact about these feet, you do get these little rubber pads, which was a thing in the unboxing that I could not figure out what they were. I just thought it looked like a weird textured bit. So they are little rubber stickers that are cut out to shape to give you some type of traction, given that these are the weird ground type, or at least high gravity type, I would call it. Heels. And as we know, when you have big heels in IBO, it means you're important. So that's the thing. That is my nightmare. That foot has to be fixed somehow. Now, one major change is to the. You get these forearm things that I have no idea what this is supposed to be. It looks like some type of rocket canister or something. And another thing that slides out down here, which appears to be a pile bunker or something, possibly a small gun. I can't tell, to be totally honest. And you got some things back here that look like hinges. These don't move. This doesn't really move. It doesn't slide up or down. I don't actually know exactly what it's for, if I'm honest with you. This form didn't last a whole very long time because, of course, they were attacked by Carta and everybody at their base right after this. And then, of course, this is when we get the next big upgrade, which is, of course, the 6th form that we know so well from the end of the first season. Here we go again. Whew, okay, so that was involved. Alright, so finally we are here at the ultimate 6th form Barbatos. And yeah, he's got a lot more going on up top, including some modified Graze Ritter shoulders, which absolutely gives me hope that we will get MG Grazes in the future, because basically those construct exactly like they did on the HG and even the 1100s, but we didn't get obviously Ritter style shoulders, but that is basically what those are, and I look forward to it. We do get the new chest cover, extra armor going on there, and yes, I know I should have the Tekadon logo. Like I said, I haven't done the water slides just yet. It is what it is. Please get over it. I do like the fact they just took the shoulders. They're like, these are mine now. Also took the side skirt thrusters and modified them to work for the Barbatos, and these are totally different from the ones we already had. I don't know why they switched. I don't know if there was a deal with the space type doesn't work on Earth or something. I don't know, but we do get a nice hinging motion. It's where they want to go into a high-speed-ish mode. I don't think this slides out or anything. No, I don't think anything else moves. That's cool. Thruster cones here. I remember this being like a sticker or something like that on the HG. That sucked, but that was cool. They are mounted on swivels. They replaced the actual side skirts. You get all kinds of movement out of those, which is pretty good, not gonna lie. I will say that because this thing does not have polycaps and a lot of the construction has to be taken apart for certain parts, things are definitely getting loose. I mean, this foot is the worst part of it, obviously, but I can guarantee you the stuff on the arms is probably a little bit more loose than it ever was. Also, I didn't remember that he had these extra bits here. I'm guessing this is just for extra strength in the arms because he starts swinging much larger weapons. So it looks like extra pistons and just whatever. So I think that's just really there for strength and reinforcement. These are super in the way of the shoulders. How he ever really functioned, I have no idea. You can see here, like even the flap will be basically in the way. So these do have the hinges. They can all sort of get up and out the way, though that looks really stupid. This is, of course, his like football player mode. So it is what it is. How he was ever like massively functional after this. And of course, this was before they did this modification, before they headed up towards Alaska, I believe it was. And then they encountered Carta in the snow after this. And that is, of course, where we get his new toy, the T-Rex hammer. Technically, it's called a wrench mace. But yeah, T-Rex hammer. I expect people have already probably turned this into the weird chicken T-Rex customs, and it is cool. Forgot that it was like a light blue. I thought it was like a grayish color. Obviously, it is what it is. It's pretty cool. You even get the teeth and stuff on the inside. And I do believe, oh yeah, if you pull the handle, you do get the actual motion. I did assemble it wrong the first time, and actually I missed the pin that held everything together. I would recommend like adding some like gunmetal to the chainsaw edge if you're down for it, but I like that. That even does the thing. And then this also extends out to give it a little bit more range there, which is fine. You know, it looks good. I like the idea that he can grab it and swing it around, so to speak. I don't know. Let me see here. I don't have all my hands available, so let's just put it in this hand and see if it works. I don't know if it will, because this is like the sword holding hand. So let's see here. It might work better on this one. Not exactly. Well, let's see. I'm sure the instructions probably tell you exactly which ones to use, huh? I assume that this will have equal problems to the HG, if not worse, because it is a much larger, heavier thing, and basically they designed HG hands for this thing, so this is just stupid, in my opinion. Okay, so let's try this a different route. Plug the hand back in. I don't think that's going to work with that offhand. No pun intended. Or pun 100% intended. I don't know anymore. I'm tired, guys. It's been a minute since I started this review. And obviously, it's been a bit of a labor-intensive one. Okay, plug that in there. Wrap the thumb around. Okay, so he is now holding the wrench mace for all the good it does, because, once again, it weighs 1 billion pounds. So that just sort of chunks down like that. And I don't have another hand on it to really kind of hold it up, but it is what it is. Now, one thing that is kind of neat, they give you an adapter to go on the backpack, and I had forgotten that the backpack does this. And also, I still have his original sword, so I think I can chunk that in there. But either way, you can pull this out, slide these guys out, which is not the easiest thing in the world. They are a little bit flimsy. You can just grab this and chunk that in there. Go ahead and put that back up, and now you can carry the wrench mace on his back. And yeah, even with the foot pads, because the way my feet are, he's still sliding and doing the splits from this massive hammer thing. And I knew that was going to happen eventually, and there it went. So that is a major flaw, in my opinion, with how this thing functions. I'm probably just going to have him holding it like this, just to have it in some form of pose. Come on. And this is one of those things that I have to majorly criticize about this particular kit and what will come of it in the future. The idea that they went with these style hands is so stupid, considering that aside from the sword, the Barbatos have to hold really big ass weapons, and that is a very short-sighted deal. Now, I do know, yeah, he's supposed to grip this with that hand and then grab the other end with the other hand so you can get the cool epic Obari pose with the thing. It is what it is. I got to figure out how I'm going to do a thumbnail for it. So, the major issue with this set is, of course, the same issue we have with all the option parts sets as we went through the HG line. You can't use all of them at once. In fact, I legit have tubs, literally, of the parts separated per form so that I could keep everything straight. And if you're not a reviewer doing these things like this, then what are you going to do with all the parts? Just throw them all in the box? Are you going to buy 4 more Barbatos? And the thing is, like, you're going to need a lot of the same parts. So, like, these forearms are the same from, from the 5th form through the 6th form. You only get one set. So, you can only get 5th form through 6th form with that. You can't make multiples. So, you can't even get every form. So, okay, you're going to buy another set. Then you have extra parts. So, it's a very inefficient use of things. It's a fun gimmick to replicate what they did in the show. Fine. But ultimately, it's not that cool. So it's literally going to be a pick your form. Do you want to be 6th form? Do you want to be a weird 5th form? Do you want to be the 5th form ground type? Basically, which is 4th form with heels. It's just going to come down to that. Which one are you going to stick with? I mean, a lot of people are going to want to stick with the really big hammer as well. And as I've already shown, it's kind of hard for him to hold it and keep the weight up and keep the hand on. And I know a lot of people will be like, man, it's awesome. I don't know what's wrong with you. Why do you always talk so negative about things? I talk about negative things when it's a problem. And mine, at very least, which is what I'm looking at, which is what I'm reviewing, has problems. Mostly with that foot, which is really discouraging because I cannot put him in any real good poses. And with the fact that he at least has the rubber things on there, it'll be okay. I'm basically going to have to super glue that ankle tilt or that foot tilt in place permanently and just leave it be. And then I'm going to have to find the Barbatos box and dig out the extra hand so that he can hold the wrench mace as he's supposed to. And that's just something, I don't even know where the box is, if I'm perfectly honest with you guys. It's either in the closet or it's up on the shelf. I don't know. So that's a big problem for me in general. The set is cool. Don't overpay for it. Keep an eye out on P-BANDAI. Please, if you are in America, at least sign up for Premium Bandai America. It is well worth the effort. Just, you got to get your pre-orders in on time, or you're going to pay the late tax via any other retailers or online guys. So that's what I definitely recommend. That's how I did it. I pre-ordered it the second it popped up. It's fun, but realistically, Barbatos as he was is probably most recognizable in 4th form, and it's cool that you get the extra weapons and such, but I just don't know. Nobody's going to be putting it in 1st form. Nobody's going to be putting it in 2nd form. Most people are going to put him in 5th or 6th and leave it there. And like I said, you can only do so much because you don't get repeat parts. You get the same set of parts. So unless you're going to be buying in a whole bunch of Barbatos and a whole bunch of this kit, you're not going to have a whole set of like all 6.5 forms of Barbatos, because 5th form technically has two sections to it. But guys, let me know what you think down below. Which one are you going to stick with? Which version is your favorite? I am still a little bit more partial to the 4th/5th form versus the 6th form. But that's just me. Let me know what you think down below. And of course, if you care, go watch the unboxing if you want to see all the parts. I will eventually get around to putting on the water slides, at least the necessary ones, like the Tekadon thing and stuff like that. And we'll eventually paint the little bitty Orga and stuff like that. Because it's just things I like. But another thing, I want more mobile workers. They're like literally the backbone of Tekadon, and they're just fun to have. And they're going to give us more down the line, but the MG line is very slow, especially for IBO. Like, they could have been pounding these out the same way they were putting out the 1/100s. The frame is essentially the same for all the Gundams. You got a lot of Gundams to get through. You can totally make it happen. Just do it, Bandai. So I'll catch you guys on the next review. I do have some HG reviews that are coming. So look forward to those. But in the meantime, I'll catch you next time. Remember, as always, keep on building, and make sure your foot isn't loose.